All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode. And this one is going to be a little bit different. And I'm hoping that you will bear with me and give me some latitude here. But what I've been doing for the last couple of weeks, as you've known, as I mentioned last week, is I've been building out a course for beginners. As you know, I've had my accelerator program going now for about a year and a half. Actually, we're coming up on nearly 2 years now. And it's going well. We've had some great feedback from the participants, but I've been getting inundated with messages from younger people asking if I have some sort of a course that would kind of give them the basics, the fundamentals, and take them through a process that would kind of get them from zero to understanding how to go about buying a property, how to analyze the financial data, how to look for property, how to find the right kind of property, and just the kind of thing that I would do if I was out there. I don't want people to go out there and buy, the wrong property in the wrong area or something like that. And one of the questions I get a lot is, or one of the statements that is kind of said to me in direct messages on social media and things like that, is that I'd like to buy a property. I see one, down the road, it's X price and stuff like that. And when I see that, I always get a little bit kind of shocked at all it is just, it's simply a property that they have seen for sale. They're not looking at the underlying financials. They're not looking at the rentability of it. They're not looking at anything. It's just simply a piece of property that they see for sale and they think that they might like to buy it. And so the idea of this course, and it's only kind of a short 8-week course, but the idea behind it is just to remove all of that uncertainty and make sure that if you are buying something, you're buying for the right reasons and that it looks like, it's going to be at least a successful outcome. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to take you through just the course content and a couple of the things just so that you can kind of get a feel for it. And the reason that I'm bringing you through this is partly, obviously, promotion of it. I'd like to make you guys aware that it's available here, but also it's kind of an interesting, I've put a lot of thought into this. And so I think you'll find it interesting. This, in case you're watching on the video, this is actually the homepage now. I've completed my website, or I've certainly progressed it a lot from where it was. So if you go and check out elitepropertyaccelerator.com, you'll see it's quite polished now and quite finished. And I have a home section. I have an about section, which talks a little bit about me. I have a coaching section, which tells you about the different coaching programs that are available. I now have a test. Some of you will have taken my property investor readiness test some time back. And that's new and improved. And you will find that if you go into now the home page, I have a thing called testing. I have a tab up at the top right called testing. If you click on that, it'll take you to the quiz, the new improved quiz. So what I'm going to do is take you into, I have a landing page for my new course, and it's called Foundations. So if you go elitepropertyaccelerator.com/foundations, you'll go directly into the Foundations course. And I'm just going to give you a bit of an overview of it. And those of you who are not interested, apologies for this. You can obviously switch off if you don't want. But I think you will learn from, the underlying structure that I've created for the course, because it does take you through some of the fundamental questions. And I'm not sure everybody thinks this through when they're looking at it. I'm quite a kind of obsessive about detail and things like that. And as I've been going through it, I've realized there's a whole lot of areas that I naturally look at, which perhaps are not covered by the general kind of public or the general courses that are out there. So let me take you down through it. So you start off with this kind of explanatory kind of page, and then I take you into the tagline, which is taking you from uncertainty to confidence and freedom. Now, the idea behind that is that I think a lot of people, they want to get into property, but the big thing that's holding them back, apart from the obvious one, which is money, but the biggest thing that holds people back is just a lack of confidence. Even if you've saved up a sizable sum of money to make a deposit or whatever, you will find that you're held back by self-limiting beliefs. And now a lot of people don't have that problem, but they might be the ones that jump in too soon and might find that they've made a mistake. So you can be on one end of the spectrum or the other. You can be very, very keen to jump in and, throw caution to the wind, and in you go. And I would call that the kind of the gambler's mindset. And certainly you'd be a lot like me if that's the kind of mindset you had. On the complete opposite end of the spectrum, there is the analyst mindset. And the analyst mindset is the person who will analyze everything to death and will actually never take any action. And so you can either be the person who jumps way too early, or you can be the person who never ever takes action because you analyze it too much. Obviously, the way to be is somewhere in the middle, kind of a healthy center. And one extreme or the other, and you're going to either blow all your cash or you're never going to make any investments. So that's where I kind of get into the confidence side of it. I want to make sure that how do I, improve your confidence? Well, I do that through a series of talks and discussions on mindset. Then I also cover knowledge. There's a whole load of modules explaining the processes, the legal process, the financial process, how to go about raising money, all of that stuff. And then finally, we go into resources. And resources are obviously financial, but there's actually more resources than that. Do you have time? Do you have a network of people that you can rely on and things like that? These are also considered resources. Now, I've just listed out some of the questions that a lot of people ask at this stage of the journey. When you're starting out, you will have questions like, how much money do I need to start investing in property? Or how much should I spend on this particular property? How do I start the process of raising finance? Am I still quite young? Will the banks take me seriously? What are the risks involved in property investment? What kind of professional advisors do I need to hire? Is there a set criteria to assess the potential of a property deal? What are the tax implications of buying property? What do I need to know about managing rental property? How should I go about adding value to the property after I've purchased it? Should I rent out a room in my new home? Is there going to be a market collapse or will it continue to rise? How long should I hold on to my property? Will I get a good investment return? And how do I go about selling it? So those are some of the basic questions. I get those quite a lot. And so I go into that in this particular course, obviously. There's a little section on Meet Your Coach, and that is yours truly. And obviously, if you're listening to this podcast, I expect you know me quite well now, or at least you think you do. And that is, just a little bit of an explanation of my background and stuff. Now, I say then, it sounds great, but how does it work? So let me just outline the structure of the course. It involves 8 weeks of online lessons. Now, those are video modules that you can watch in your own time. And the idea is that people are busy. They have different times of the day that they work. And it would be impossible for me to do a live training course where everybody is available at exactly the same hour of the day. So the idea behind it is create a program. It's 8 weeks long, and the idea that I have is that 5 videos per week, maybe 6 if it's a busy module, but 5 videos a week. You watch one a day, and by the end of the course, you're going to be brimming with knowledge. Now, in addition to that, I have what I call the monthly huddle. And what we're going to have is a particular day every month. I'm going to have this live coaching where we all meet up. It's kind of like we'll call it a junior mastermind. And that is everybody who is on the program can join the monthly huddle. Now, this monthly huddle, when you sign up for the 8-week course, you actually get 12 months of access to the huddle. And the idea behind that is that it only takes 8 weeks for me to teach you all of the fundamentals, but it's going to take you 12 months to go out there and put that into practice. And so the idea is that you can come back every month. And by the way, there will be more regular than once a month, but I want to put in my diary once a month so that this is absolutely sacrosanct. There will be plenty of other unscheduled sessions where I kind of just jump on the call and kind of talk about a certain topic or answer a certain question. But the idea is that we have a set time and a place once a month that we all meet up. And the idea behind that is that you can bring your questions and your challenges, and if you're facing any kind of an issue out there as you're putting this into practice, you can bring it up at the monthly huddle, and other people will obviously learn from your questions and your experiences. I'm also going to be having a fair bit of challenges in this. The idea is to gamify this, and that's really more of kind of pushing people to do things. There's going to be rewards, things like private coaching from myself and various other things like invitations to special events where you won't have to pay and things like that. Those are going to be the rewards for people who win the challenges. I'm also creating a members chat. The members chat it'll either be a WhatsApp or a Telegram group, and all of the members, all of the active members will be in that group. Obviously, you don't have to be in it if you don't want to be, but it is a useful way to share. And I think people prefer that to going into Facebook and things like that nowadays. I'm amazed at the amount of people when I say, what's your Facebook address? Like, they're like, sorry, I'm not on Facebook. In-person events. This is probably the most attractive aspect of it. But every quarter, I put together a coaching or an in-person event. And it's like a meetup stroke coaching session. And the idea is that those members in this program will get to come along to that meetup. And what I have is, in the morning, I have a meetup for the course members, and in the afternoon, I have a meetup for the accelerator members. And those are the guys, the more advanced mastermind members. And those lucky few people who get selected will be allowed to attend the one in the evening as well. And the idea behind that is that there are some people that are very, very keen, very, very eager. I've met a few of them. They've beaten down my door to attend some of these things before. And so I know that there's definitely a handful of people out there that will give their eye teeth to actually be in the room with experienced investors and learn from them. And then finally, there will be a certificate that I issue at the end of this course. And I mean, what's that worth? It's not worth a great deal, I guess, but it does signify that you've completed it. I've put in a couple of client testimonials, people that have been through the course and stuff like that. You can go and check that out. And then I list out the course curriculum. So let me explain what's going to happen on the course. And the idea here, this is what I mean by the structure that you're going to find useful, just as a listener here today. Week 1, the fundamentals. So what is the fundamentals? Well, learn the essential concepts and terminology in property investing, including an overview of the basic types of property and the basic investment strategies. So a lot of people would not actually understand, why do we actually invest in property? Like, what is it about property that makes it an attractive investment vehicle? And so that's something I'm going to go into in that particular course. The next week, then we get into getting started. And by getting started, you got to discover how to research and how to identify potential properties, as well as the various important factors to consider, such as their condition, their location, and the condition of that particular market. How far away are they from the nearest bus stop, from public transport? All of that impacts the rentability of the property and the resale value of the property. So I'm going to go into all of those things, so just so that you understand how to go about buying. In week 3, we go into risk and reward. And this is where you understand, or you will learn to understand, the balance between risk and reward when investing in property. And the big thing is how to assess the financial performance of the asset and then manage the risks whilst enhancing potential returns. What some people do is they rush out there, buy a property, and then they realize after they've paid that they've made a big mistake. And you've got to be able to weigh up those risks in advance of putting money down. You've also got to be able to weigh up what's the financial reward. And so, if you thought you could double your money in the morning, you might sort of say that's a fantastic investment. But if I told you it's a binary outcome, you'll either double your money or you'll lose every penny of your money. And that's a 1 or a 0. That's very, very binary. You want to avoid those kind of deals. What you want is an asymmetric risk profile where the chances are you might lose 5 or 10%, but the other opportunity is that you double your money. That's a pretty good risk reward ratio. We get into debt and financing in week 4, and it's just going to be exploring the various financing options for you to go out and purchase a property. And that is, there's obviously mortgages, everyone's familiar with those, but there's also private lenders and private loans, and also, leveraging strategies. I got a question during the last few days. I'm wondering actually if this person is listening now, but saying that he was sitting on quite a sizable deposit, or he's about to sell a property and is going to make a sizable profit on his property sale. And he's only a young guy in his 20s, but he's looking at a fairly generous sum of money left over from this profit. And he wanted to know, should he go and massively leverage the purchase of his private residence, or should he, use the cash to keep the debt low? And that's the kind of question you need to, think about very carefully, because markets go up and down. You do not know it. Like, you might feel like you're winning today, but the market is cyclical, and you might turn around and regret not paying more into your mortgage than when you initially thought. Having said that, you could see an opportunity come your way, and you'd be saying, if only I had that money now, I'd be able to take advantage of this. So there's two sides to think of those particular issues, but you really got to, your leveraging strategies are very important to get your head around, and you just need to make informed decisions about debt and around debt. In week 5, we get into making the offer. Now, when you're making an offer, you've obviously got to understand the negotiating process, and you've got to understand what's going on mentally in the mind of the person that you're offering. And so there's a lot of sort of psychology in there. Now, in addition to that, you've obviously got to appoint advisors, arrange inspections, and you've got to understand the closing procedures. So I'm going to go through all of that. Becoming a landlord, that's the next thing. Like, a lot of people, they can't wait to become a property owner, but they don't realize that when you want to rent it out, you become a landlord, and there is law governing landlord and tenants. And a lot of people that are investors now are running a mile from the market, because that law does seem to be very much skewed lately in favor of the tenant. And so you have to understand very carefully your rights and obligations as a landlord and your obligations to the tenant. And you don't understand that, you get yourself into a whole world of trouble where you're not even able to sell the property because you've got a tenant who is ensconced in there and you can't get them out. So be very careful and understand all of this. There's lease agreements, there's tenant selection, there is rental collection, and all of that. We go into all of that in week 6. Then week 7 is adding value. Discover how to increase the value of your property through strategic improvement. And that could be renovation, it could be active property management techniques, it could be conversion from, we'll say, commercial property into residential. There's a whole load of ways that you can convert the value, or you can add value. Back in the day when I was sort of riding high during the Celtic Tiger, I was buying retail units and splitting them into multiple units, and that was incredibly profitable at the time. Nowadays, it doesn't really work that well. So it's, every strategy has got a limited time span. So be aware of that. And then week 8, I say time to celebrate. This is where you're, reaching the end of the course. You're going to graduate. You're going to get your certificate, and you're going to be celebrating your new found confidence, and putting it to the test, taking it out of the theory and the copybook and out onto the road and actually look to go and buy. Now, I thought I would mention, and a few of you have already availed of this who are paying attention, but I have created an early bird offer, and it expires on the 31st of May. Now, the early bird offer gets you all these additional goodies that will not be available when the course actually kicks off on the 1st of June. The course is not yet live, but it is, it's almost ready. On the 1st of June, it will go live. And on the 7th of June, which I think is the first Wednesday of June, I'm going to be doing the live coaching. And so anybody who is on the course will obviously get to join us in the live coaching. And at the end of June, we're having the meetup. And so if you want to meet me and all your peers, your other members, and be in with a chance to meet or to attend the Accelerator Mastermind program later that afternoon, then you have to be an early bird for that. And so the early bird offer is there. I've made this course, well, it seems very cheap to me, but obviously it's in the eye of the beholder. €497 inclusive of VAT for 8 weeks plus a year of mastermind. I think that is pretty good value. I always like to think that I over deliver and under promise, and so I do hope that is how it's perceived out there. And so that is it. A couple of frequently asked questions. Do you need experience or previous training to join? Absolutely not. This course is designed to take you from zero knowledge or understanding to having a solid grasp of the fundamentals, such that you know how to calculate returns, assess risk, make an offer, negotiate, become a landlord, and understand how to add property. When does the training begin? It begins on the 1st of June, but that early bird offer is currently open and is available to anyone out there who would like to buy. In addition, members are invited to the huddle, and I go into all that, the monthly huddle. What should I do if I have additional questions? So that's where we're going to have the member chat. That's going to allow people to put their questions in. And I have a young man by the name of Kevin working with me now. And Kevin is great for all of this. He's going to be a moderator in there. He's going to be making sure that all of the questions get responded to and that we bring those answers to a live, either an impromptu coaching session, or it'll be brought to the huddle. But depending on the time urgency and stuff like that, we may accelerate it. We may answer it that day. Does the course include any live or in-person coaching? Yes, absolutely it does. It's going to include a regular monthly huddle and impromptu live sessions that I when I get a question that I want to answer there in the moment, I will do it. But the most important thing is the in-person group meetups that are going to take place in March, June and September. And then there's going to be an annual retreat. Now, I'm not going to release any details on that yet, but the idea would be if you want to go away on, let's say, ski trip or surfing or something like that, kite surfing, if that's something that would be of interest, I'm looking at organizing an annual retreat where people who want to can come along and we can talk property when we're not out there skiing or surfing. What happens when I complete the course? After the 8 weeks, you get your certificate, but remember you have 12 months of access to continue to show up at the monthly huddle. And that way you can bring all of your questions. And if you're going to meet a bank, you can sort of say, listen, I'm meeting a bank next week. I need to know what to say to them. I need to know what I need to know. And that's the kind of thing that you'll be able to bring into those huddles. And then last question, is there a more advanced course? Yes, as I mentioned, this is a beginner course, and the more advanced signature program, the Elite Property Accelerator, that is already up and running. It's been going for a while. There's quite a few testimonials on the website if you have a look. People have left video reviews and they've also left written reviews. And so those are available if you would like to check them out. So that is the foundation course. Now, those of you who have been stayed to the end here, that is available if you want to go and check it out. Go and check the elitepropertyaccelerator.com. This week, as I mentioned, I hope you don't mind me doing this. This is probably the best way to get it out there in front of everybody and make everyone aware of it. And so I thought I would just do that. And it's not often that I push or promote anything. So thank you for your patience. I think that's pretty much it, guys. I'm not going to dwell any longer. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Behind the Facade. And I'm going to catch you next week I'm going to be speaking with a good friend of mine who happens to be one of the leading estate agents in Dubai. So we're going to be talking about Dubai property and how to go about buying, and where to look, and what to know about Dubai property if that is something of interest. So guys, I'll speak to you next week. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. It really helps. And you've just watched something on the course there. I'm going to point you through one of my other videos. Just let's see what YouTube thinks you would like to watch for a change. And so I hope you enjoy whatever it suggests for you. And please, if you haven't already, do subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you in the next one.